if he wasn't, is it plausible to you that Felix Rodriguez would have been the person who might have ordered the abduction of Kiki Camarena? In October 2013, two former DEA agents and a pilot who allegedly flew for the CIA claimed to the Mexican journal Proceso that and the U.S. news network Fox News that the CIA had been what they say is complicit in the murder of DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena in 1985, and that Felix Rodriguez had played a role. The alleged motive for the crime was that Camarena had supposedly discovered that the U.S. government had collaborated with the Guadalajara cartel in the importation and transfer of drugs from Colombia to the United States via Mexico to use the proceeds to sponsor the Contras in Nicaragua in its war against the Sandinista government. Phil Jordan, a former director of the El Paso Intelligence Center, Hector Bereyes, a former agent of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration who directed Operation Leyenda, Operation Legend, to clarify the murder, and Tosh Plumley, allegedly a former pilot for the CIA, claimed to have evidence that the U.S. government itself ordered the capture and interrogation of Camarena, which then led to his torture and death. Now, Jack Lawn, who used to head the DEA, said that that was so ridiculous that it didn't even meet the worthiness of a response. A CIA spokesman told Fox News, quote, "It's ridiculous to suggest that the CIA had anything to do with the murder of a U.S. federal agent or the escape of his killer." Okay, fine. With that said, let's look at Felix Rodriguez. So Felix Rodriguez, who is still alive, by the way, he's going to be 85 years old in May. Felix Rodriguez was a Cuban who left Cuba when Fidel Castro came to power, along with his family. He was almost immediately recruited by the CIA. He went back to Cuba and infiltrated the Cuban government in the weeks and months before the Bay of Pigs operations. He was a paramilitary operations officer in the Special Activities Division and took part in the Bay of Pigs invasion. He was responsible for the assassination of Che Guevara in Bolivia. And then, lo and behold, all those years later, in 1984 and 1985, 1986, he was involved in the Iran-Contra affair, essentially allowing the Nicaraguan Contras to send drugs to the United States.